Right, folk. So just a reminder, what we've got is we've got this one piece of brass here, and you've got a section of P220 paper and some file. So with these, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a money clip. Okay. So the very first process that we're going to do is basically we're going to be taking, just going along and taking off all of these burrs and edges. And as well as that, we're going to be rounding out these corners, which are quite sharp. Okay. So what you want to do with this is you want to put it on a corner somewhere. Now do make sure that you do this outside, like on the corner of a deck or a flagstone, even if you just get a block of wood and rest it on that corner there. The last thing that you want to be doing is doing this on your mother's dining room table. Okay. So just rest it on the edge somewhere. And go along with the file and file away those edges. Right, so what we're looking to do here, what we're looking to do at this point, oh, where's that camera? Can you even see that? Yeah. What we're looking to do at this point, there we go, is to be able to get rid of some of those burrs that are up there on that edge. So we want to be able to get those file away so that when we run our finger along it, it's going to be nice and smooth. And we just want to do that all the way along as well. And that's really the task for the moment, is just to go along with that file and work on all four of those edges. Do that along all of those edges there as you go. Now I've just gone along there with my file and I've done exactly the same thing. Now from that point there, what I'm going to get you to do is we're going to round off all of these corners so that they are all the same and that they've all got the same round. And we're pretty much going to be doing that with the same process. So to take off those corners, what you want to do is you want to hold it there, hold it on the edge there so that you've got a corner sticking out, and then just with the file in one hand, work around and round out one corner. Okay, so I'm just happy with that there, and then I'm going to use that as my guide to make sure that I take these other four corners back to the that same diameter, or put that same curve on it. Okay, so now everybody will have, hopefully have theirs looking something like this, with all of the corners rounded off and all of the edges nice and sanded down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work on these two faces. So that face and this face, and this is where the sandpaper comes in, surprisingly enough. Right, so everybody's got one of these with them. What I want you to do is I want you to rip that in half, like so, and then rip that in half again. Or cut it if you have scissors that you're happy using on sandpaper, but I would just rip it. A good way to do that is just to fold it in half first. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're going to be just pretty much doing the same thing, but with sandpaper, and we're just going to be sanding the surface of that. Now the trick with doing this is being able to sand it in such a way where you can hold it and sand it at the same time, but still get an even sanding. Alright, so with your quarter of a sandpaper, it's good just to hold it over the edge. So you might want to set it at the side, hold it in the side, and sand it fully lengthwise. And then once that's all done, you then turn it over and do the other side. And that way the sanding goes all the way to the edge. Because when you sand it part way, it'll end up leaving end sand marks, which you don't want. So you want to be over sanding the full length each time. Now you can see here that, that with the sanding, it's going to leave, it's going to be hard to get right into these edges. So you just need to keep sanding and keep sanding through that so that we can get right, right down to those deeper sections there which are near the edge of the lip. Okay? Okay, so what we'll have done now is we'll have gotten it to something like this. Okay? What I recommend is just making sure that, as well as sanding off the face, that you've gone over and that you've also sanded along those edges as well. So just putting your finger on the edges of the sandpaper and just going along and sanding the edges as well. It just gives it that nice overall finish. Right. So what you've done now is we've taken it from there to here. Okay, so what we'll have done now is we'll have taken it to this point here. Right. So I recommend that, as well as sanding off that face there and sanding along that. Where's your camera? Sanding it along there. They also take it on the edge and sand it along the edges of all of those edges, and make sure you get a good covering along all of those edges as well as the faces with the sandpaper. So you'll end up with something pretty decent. So we'll have gone from this raggedy old piece of whatever I gave you to this shiny piece of what I've given you. All right. And what I want you to do is I want you to leave that there for today, and then tomorrow we're going to go over polishing it and doing the bending as well. Okay. Now you don't have to be able to have metal polish. If you do, that's great. But what I want to go over next time, next period, is what you can do using just materials that you've got at home to be able to polish stuff. Okay. As well as bending. So that's everything for today. If you've done all of that, that's cool. Just put that aside, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thank you. Cheers.